Yeah.
No, it's Hey, everybody. We are
it's totally my fault for going live, guys, but I'll pass it over to Sean.
We are live today. New channel launch. Sean, Kevin from RPhAlly. Now we're introducing Tammy Davis from RPhAlly, launching the Burnout channel, or Stress and Burnout channel the RX for Stress and Burnout channel, which is why I'm excited, because we have so many great support channels in RPhAlly, but we were always missing that burnout channel because of all of our burnt out professionals, and we're stuck in pizzas not working in the retail setting, and not only the retail setting, the hospital setting, the ambulatory care setting, or not, the acute care setting. So excited to introduce Tammy today in this burnout channel. So now we have something to help those pharmacists stuck in their jobs that don't have a way out yet. So here we go. I'm gonna kick it over to Kevin to start introducing Tammy. Thank you, Tammy, for joining us.
Tammy, super excited to have you here with us. I always love the live is just fun, Tammy, because you get a lot of just candid responsiveness. You get little things in between. And I think we've lost some of that. We've lost some of the fun, and the things that we were doing in healthcare, some of the excitement of just being together, working things out, trying to make things the best we can for our professional experience and for our patient experience. And Sean and I, we've been searching for a long time for someone that we felt like was a good fit, someone who understood, what the pharmacy world was going through, to be able to connect things. So just first thing, just thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for finding us and us being able to connect together and make this thing happen, because I felt like we've needed it for a very long time, somewhere to come and to be able to heal to a certain extent and then be able to move forward. So without further ado, Tammy, the first, question I wanted to have for you, just kind of an intro of you overall, kind of your background, where you came from, why burnout is a passion for you.
Well, absolutely. My background began actually as a pharmacy tech when I was still in high school. And I eventually went into pharmacology and ultimately got into, interestingly enough, I got into essential oils. But the essential oils was basically for fragrance. But we were studying and learning about plant constituents while I was in pharmacology. And the two and two, it just worked really, really well. Throughout my entire life, I have, since a child, this is going to sound very strange, but since a child, I have wanted to touch people. And my grandmother and my mother always used to say that. I would walk around saying I wanted to touch people. So when I was in pharmacy, working hands in it, I was touching people because I was making a difference in people's lives. So healthcare has always been incredibly meaningful. I've had, family history of medical issues that I felt like I wanted to do something about it. And that's the reason why I got into pharmacy, was to really begin to really make a difference in people's lives. But I found myself stuck. It wasn't happening. I developed my own health issues so over the years, which included MS. I was diagnosed with breast cancer and had another form of cancer. So I started having a lot of health issues. Although I was living the healthy lifestyle, recommended, exercise, healthy diet, all those things, including oils, because I've been working with oils now for over 40 years. But something was missing. And I was determined not to crash. And ultimately, through my own research, I began to uncover the stress response, and I began to understand the epigenetics of stress. So what I'm bringing to RPH, it's an exclusive program. It's exclusively for RPH, because I'm committed to people understanding how to harness the stress response and actually up-level their health, so that their impact, because the more that we work together and do this collaboratively, like helping others overcome their stress and rise from the ashes of burnout, if you will, then the impact that they're making on other people's lives is so extraordinary. And I can get emotional, because then I sit over here going, well, I'm still touching lives, but it's that ripple effect. And pharmacy, to me, when I think of PharmDs, I think of, they are really right there. People rely on them. There's so much involved in the field, and the impact that they can have, the exposure that they have to natural remedies that they can begin to work within that scope and just really expand upon what they offer. But in order to do that, we have to be able to break free from what has us feel harnessed by a system that is limiting, which appears to be limiting. But my mission is to expand that vision and assist people with stepping through whatever is got them, yeah, I guess got them feeling like there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, no, I think that your Genesis story, Tammy, is just so inspiring. Like the things that you've been through, the way that you created something based on your own needs to be able to find that ability to make it through. You know, just get through and weather all the storms being sent your way is absolutely incredible. And you know, you mentioned a few things that I want to make sure that the audience kind of, you know, resonates with and connects with on a deep level is, you know, when it comes to circumstance or environment or any of the other things that we're exposed to that we can feel like we have no choice, we have no autonomy, you know, related to those individual circumstances, you know, kind of break it down for us a little bit, Tammy, about, you know, I hear often that the burnout element is just related to large chain retail pharmacy.
Right.
Respect there, it's a very stressful environment. We've seen some of the, you know, people moving away from it rather quickly, jobs not being filled inside of it, which I understand. But in general, Tammy, like you and I have talked, you know, previously, several conversations before about just healthcare in general, you know, pharmacy, non-pharmacy, what kind of happened to us over the last 2.5 years, 3 years, I guess now. A lot of pressure, a lot of like self-doubt and questioning, a lot of almost like we're trapped in this kind of space. If we're in hospital, if we're in clinical settings, if we're in, you know, even the consultant world, totally detached from healthcare. So give us, Tammy, kind of the, you know, maybe the very simplified version, the Kevin version, so he can understand it, of what it means to deal with burnout and recognize burnout and just what it is in general.
Well, burnout is ultimately you lose sight. I mean, everything there. I don't want to call it hopeless. It's the way it's classified is depressive anxiety syndrome is really what they call burnout. It's where it's like when you step away from work or you step away from whatever you're. You know, if we can just kind of expand upon it and just be. Maybe, you know, it's just burnout because of life in general. Maybe it is because of work. But the bottom line is the second you step away from whatever is exhausting you, whatever has you feeling stuck, all of a sudden you have the energy. You have the energy to do things. It's the reason, you know, and so that really is the ultimate description of burnout. Like you feel like you're not having an impact on people. You notice that your mood all of a sudden, you know, nothing, you don't feel good. You're just going through the motions. It's like you become an automaton, and it's just like, this is all there is, kind of, this is as good as it gets, kind of a syndrome. But that's really what it's classified as, is the depressive anxiety syndrome. But it's not a clinical diagnosis in the sense that you have something that you need to take medication for. It's about mindset. I'm not going to lie. It's about mindset, but it's also working. I mean, so there's a lot of science to this too. I will say that I have there's a lot of science. The CDC even recognizes it as far as the impact that it's having on the epigenetics. And that's really what got me into wanting to do this with, like I said, with the pharmacies or pharmacists and in the field of pharmacy, simply because of the impact that we all have on the greater population. And I believe in the ripple effect, but that's really what it is in a nutshell. Your interactions with people at work are, you know, you're just getting through the day, kind of an experience.
Yeah, and the, you know, the other piece that I think just like getting through the day kind of experience really leads me to is really what you and I have talked about, why you're like RPhAlly is a perfect fit for this, because you can have people that are getting to the point where they're just getting through the day, and then it gets worse and it gets worse and it gets worse. So the exposure and folks being able to join your channel, I really think that we've talked about some of the different stages, like the burnout recognition ability, you know, for us to be able to see some signs early on, and having folks recognize, you know, and have your guidance to be able to help them avoid hitting some of these next stages, I think is just as important as folks that are experiencing burnout and jumping in and being like, hey, Tammy, I need help. I know this is happening already, to me.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's perfect. So there's our RPhAlly connection of, hey, this is why we've come together and felt like this is the right environment. So really the next piece, Tammy, I'm at any of those stages, right? I'm just like, hey, things aren't feeling right in my career trajectory, or I'm like, I feel terrible. I'm bringing it home to my family. Every time I go to work, I sit outside and sweat before I go in. All of those like stages from beginning to end. Folks that join your channel, what are they going to experience? Like when they come in there, what should they think? I'm going to get this when I come into Tammy's channel.
Well, this is going to be very experiential. And like you said, Kevin, this is going to be one, it's not just about recovering from burnout. This is going to be about how do we prevent burnout? So this is really, so like I said, it's experiential. First thing that we come into is I actually have a full assessment where you can do a self-assessment and kind of get, with a scale of where you can actually see where you lay, where you are on that scale of, from just stressed to full on burnout. Is it high level, high, moderate, or low? So that's the first thing that we're going to come into. Number one, that gives me an idea of where you are. And then that way it gives me, so from that place, we can begin. I'm going to have office hours. I've got books that it's not recommended reading, but it's suggested reading that we can get together and talk about ideas on how to become more aware of what our needs are, because we got to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first. So this becomes a very experiential thing, like I said, but it's also, I'm going to bring the science to it because we're scientists in this and understand what I'm just speaking for myself right now, but other scientists that I'm familiar with, I got to know why am I doing this? How is this really helping me? Because then when I know how this is helping me, it makes that much more of an impact on how I begin to, that I just go ahead and start doing it because I know it's going to make it, make the advantage. So this program or this channel will not only be about a system of trying to get from either recovery or prevention, but it's also going to be personalized. And there's a lot of interaction. I will, like I said, there's going to be Q&A, there's going to be office hours, and there's going to be suggested readings. I have a lot of material that I want to share, but the ultimate point of this is complete interaction. I'm available. You'll have access to me as you need to, because my desire is that it be personal. This is a personal experience. This is not just the next self-care program. This is a way to how to tailor your needs to be the healthiest that you can be, so that your impact at work continues and that you can even create a vision for something more if there is something more. This is not about me telling you where to go. This is about you designing what you want to do, but you've got to get into that space of clarity and feeling like you're, for lack of a better term, empowered to do so, to make the changes that you feel are necessary for your personal career as well as your family. This is a very holistic approach, and that's the reason why I will, if I may quickly share how I found RPH. I've been wanting to work with or serve the medical community at this level for a long time. And I had gone out for a hike because I love hiking. And I just put it out there. I'm like, please show me the way. What's the next way? What's the best direction for me? And I got on a podcast while I was hiking, and you two were talking on this podcast. And I thought, well, if anybody just handed me an answer, that was the answer. And yeah, it was that. It came around like that. And so here we are. And to me, this speaks volumes to me, because this is how I got started. And I feel like I'm home. I know I'm home. And when I checked out RPH, I was really impressed with the holistic. It is holistic. I mean, there's everything you guys are offering. It takes everything into consideration about the individual. And that means everything, because now you're actually making a difference in people's lives. And I couldn't say no to that. I had to say yes to that.
Well, Sean's going to feel like this is a really weird thing to say. And thank you so much, Dana. Dana said that's exactly how I came to this one. I'm really excited to see that, and that's amazing. And Sean's gonna feel like this is a weird thing because he knows his brother Kevin is never speechless. But yeah, you have me a little knocked back from that kind of compliment and that connection, and we just care so deeply about our relationship, Tammy, and connecting with these individuals. I know one thing that you've educated me on, especially with your counseling background, is it's not going to be the fit if someone has suicidal ideation or other things. That's a beautiful thing about being able to come in and see Tammy, is that being able to then say, this isn't the perfect place for you. Here are other resources to be able to connect you to, is also, part of the equation. And one that Sean and I were very cognizant of finding the right person that would be able to help individuals to say, you need to go and see someone, in person, or whatever that might be. So I don't want to call it triaging at all because that might be too clinical, but, basically just finding a way to make sure that you're getting the right resources, to be able to connect all together. So I appreciate that about Tammy. And Sean, actually, I know we're at 15, but I wanted to pass it to you, buddy, for just, I'll be honest, Tammy, like my brother up here, like he's experienced burnout. Like he has seen it inside of his settings, seen it inside of the things that he was able to do in his kind of career trajectory. Sean, like I know you wish that this was around, kind of previously, but as you kind of sign us out and thank Tammy, tell us more about like the things that you went through, man, and just to be able to let folks know of like why we wanted this to be here and why you wish this was here when you were going through it.
Oh God, I mean, how deep are you going, Kevin? So, God, it was 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, where, this is back when I was working in a chain, one of the big three, and they rolled out this new system. I was a brand new manager overseeing this, 24-hour store, busy store in Tucson, and I wasn't equipped to manage, number one. Number two is a new program, so I was basically there sun up to sundown. It was a like nice thing about California, pharmacists have to punch a clock. They're not exempt anymore. But everywhere else, it's salary. And if you're the manager, that doesn't mean you're there from 8 to 4. That means you're there from 8 to 10 if you need to be, right? And I did not handle stress in a great way back then. Like I was young, I was single, we used to drink a lot, right? That wasn't a good way to do that. I had no other tools to just take that burnout with, like how to, honestly, Tammy. So what you said there, like, I'm so excited to be able to offer, like professionals stuck in those situations who haven't found a way out yet, or haven't found another path to be able to like, okay, let's work on ourselves scientifically, right? Like you bring in science to this, which I think is really important because we're all scientists. We all want to see data. We're so stuck in our guidelines. We won't do anything without some guidelines in front of us. Dig to ourselves there, right, Kevin? So that was 10 years ago. I mean, fast forward 5 years, I was married, family. So I had a great wife that helped me, relieve some of those stressors, but the burnout was still there. I still couldn't cope with it myself. It was just, I had to quit and find a different job. Luckily, I did find another job, ultimately leading us to here eventually, but still it wasn't a smooth transition at all. So I'm really excited. I had a few more, but I got lost. Now maybe I might be cut off. If I'm cut off, Kevin, take it away, buddy.
Hey, you're good, buddy. You said, I think, all the beautiful things that Tammy and I wanted to hear, to be able to connect with everybody out there on the things that they could have gone through, the kind of traumas that they could have experienced, and the things that Tammy is doing. So once again, Tammy, so thankful for you. Really excited about this burnout channel and all the things you're going to bring. And really excited to tune in next time, when Tammy gives us more information and you guys joining. So to sign everybody off here, if you want to be able to witness all the incredible things that Tammy is doing inside of the burnout channel, here's what you need to do. RPhAlly.com. Go in there, pharmacists, pharmacy technicians, register and get set up inside of it. Find in the channel section, Tammy's burnout channel. And so after you go in there, you can become a user with her, all the content that she's put out, look at the live feeds, ask her questions, and really connect, on a deep level. And I'm going to actually pass it over to you, Tammy, to be able to sign us off. Any last words, for folks out there that are nervous about saying, should I join a burnout channel? Should I not? What's the overall feeling? But yeah, let folks know.
Absolutely. Thank you. I want to say that the way we all handle stress is unique, but at the same time, it's coping mechanisms are coping mechanisms. I have actually done this very work in treatment facilities for people in recovery from addiction and trauma. So it's easily understandable, and there are ways to get through it. So feel, there's the one thing that I want to assure everyone is there's confidence, it's confidentiality and there's safety. You're 100% safe in here, and whatever you share with me privately stays with me privately. So that is what I wanted to reassure everyone. I am, like I said, direct access to me will be going live. I look forward to bringing in experts to talk along these lines as well, to provide us with even more support and encouragement. But ultimately, just know that everything is safe. We're safe, and this is about healing and moving forward and really having extraordinary lives in the field that we've chosen to be a part of. So I am really looking forward to this.
Thank you so much, Tammy. Everybody, you have a wonderful rest of the day. Tammy, so excited for you to be with us, and we will see you all at RPhAlly. All right. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.